All right, guys, so today we are looking at the coordinate plane and then graphing on the coordinate plane. So that's all our notes are today. So a nice little intro to our next unit. If you go on Canvas later, especially you digital learners, you can see that the entire module is laid out. Okay, so you can see what we're doing each day, and I'll upload those as we kind of go through the week and make sure you're on the same page. All right, the biggest thing to notice is that you have a quiz next Friday. So that's January 29th, you have a quiz. And then your test will be the Friday after that. So your test will be 2 weeks from today. And I believe that's February 5th, if I remember correctly. And then we'll get into the next week, which is a short week, okay? But today, let's focus on graphing on the coordinate plane, all right? So you can see what a coordinate plane is up here, all right? You got two different ones, coordinate plane, stuff like that. So we're going to go through this and kind of knock this out together. So the first thing we want to talk about are what are some of these things, okay? So the first thing, the horizontal line, okay? Remember, the horizontal line is a line that goes side to side, okay? So just like my little lightsaber is doing here. And the horizontal line in a graph, we call the X, I don't know why I wrote an A. We call it the X axis, okay? So the horizontal line is called the X axis, all right? So I'm going to draw it here, X axis, okay? And I'll just label it there. That horizontal line is called the x-axis, okay? The vertical line. The vertical line is the line that goes up and down, okay? The vertical line is what we call the y-axis, okay? Now, have y'all heard of this before? Bless you. Yeah, you've probably heard of this before, okay? X-axis, y-axis, all that is good. All right, now, the one that I kind of get students with sometimes, that some students don't necessarily know what this is. The origin, okay, is the dot that is in the exact middle, okay? The origin is basically, you could call it, some people call it your starting point. I don't necessarily do that, but the origin is in the dead center, and the coordinates of the origin are 0, 0, okay? Now, when I list that 0, 0, let me just talk about that real quick. This is called a point, okay? A point has two numbers in it. It has an X number and a Y number, and it is always written as X and Y, okay? And what that tells you is whatever the X value is where you go on the X axis, and whatever the Y value is where you go on the Y axis, okay? Now, the graph has positives and negatives on each side, okay? So each axis has its own positive and negative. So let's start with the x-axis, all right? The x-axis, the positive side is to the right. So when we say the positive side, that means we are going to the right of the origin, okay? And then when we think about the negative side of the x-axis, that is to the left of the origin. Okay? So, what that means is, I'm going to use this second graph. If I'm looking at the x-axis, the positive side is everything to the right of the origin. So let me put my dot for the origin. The origin is right here. Everything to the right would be considered positive. Okay, so if you were given a positive number, you would go to the right. If you were given a negative number for your x value, you would go to the left. Are you all okay with that? Okay, good. Now, when we look at, and I'm going to do it over here to the side just to make sure we got enough room. If we think about the y-axis, okay? Very similar type stuff. The positive version of the y-axis is considered to be up from the origin. So if the positive side is up, where would the negative side be? Down. You got it. Positive side is up, negative side is down. So as we look at the graph up here, if you start at the origin and go up, that would be your positive side. If you start at the origin and go down, that would be your negative side. Okay? Now, again, this is just used to really help your numbers. So if I gave you a number that was like a positive x and a positive y, you would go to the right and then you would go up, because that's where your positives go. If it were a negative positive, you would go left and then up. Are y'all okay with all that? Okay, so that is all of this information. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to work an example of kind of each of what you would be given, okay, and what you would want to do. So flip to the back and we're going to look at these. So these are the types of problems that you're going to see from the stuff we do today. You're going to be given what we call and I'm going to just write this term out to the side, a scatter plot. Okay? A scatter plot is just simply a set of points that are put randomly on a graph. Okay? Now, what you have to be able to do is you have to be able to, one, look at a graph with points and tell me what those points are. And then second, you have to be able to be given points and then go plot those points. Okay? Now, I personally think it's easiest to plot points. So we're going to start with this example down at the bottom. Y'all okay with that? All right. And I know it's easy to see on mine. I'm going to use a different color for each one just to help it out. You don't have to. I'm just doing that as something to help us here. Okay. So as I look, I'm going to use red first. I need to plot the point 5, 3. Well, here's the things you need to know. When you go to plotting, your starting point is always going to be the origin, because the origin is 0, 0. So if I wanted to plot the point 5, 3, well, my x value is positive 5. My y value is positive 3. So you look at your x, it's positive 5. Well, that means I need to start at 0, 0 and go over 5 in the positive direction, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But then I need to go up 3 in the positive direction. 1, 2, 3. And that point right there is where my 5, 3 would go. Okay, so I'm going to go over there and do that. That is the point. And right now, just to help me, I'm going to label that point so that I know where it's at. That is the point 5, 3. That way, I can always make sure I know how I got the point there and then what the point is. What'd you say?
Wouldn't the next one be the bottom left?
Yes, so you're absolutely correct. So if we look at this next one, this is the point -4, -1. Well, now we're starting here. We want to go in the negative direction. So it'd be -4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But then it's down -1. So it would be down here. Okay, so there's the point -4, -1. Okay. I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to give y'all an opportunity to try and plant the last 3. Okay. This next one is -3, +7. Okay. So again, we start here in the middle. Our x number is going to be negative. So you go left, 1, 2, 3. But then you're going to go up +7 because it's positive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there is -3, -3, +7. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this and I'm going to give you about a minute, maybe 2, to go ahead and do these last 3. Ready, set, go. Go. All right. So y'all felt pretty good about this. So I'm going to move through this a little bit quicker. So the next point is 6, -5. So you want to go 6 in the positive direction for your x, which is to the right. 6, and then you're going to go down because it's negative for your y. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there would be the point 6, -5. Okay. Then you're going to look. Okay. The next one is 3, 0. Okay, so 0 just means what? Well, okay, it doesn't mean the origin, but let's talk about it. So first we need to go 3 right. 1, 2, 3. But then when it's 0, that just means you don't go up and you don't go down. So you just stay right on whatever the line might be. Okay? Now, the next one is even better. Okay? The next one is 0, -2. Here's the thing you got to know. If it's 0 for your x, you don't go left, you don't go right. You stay right down the middle. And then -2 means you go down 2. So there would be your point. Perfect. Good. Glad. All right. Let's come back up here then and let's look at this last one. All right. With these last ones, okay, same idea here. These are just ones where you're actually given the point. You just got to count and see which ones they are. Okay, so I'm just going to choose random ones and I'll color them and then we'll go figure them out. So if that was my point, how I like to do it is I like to start at 0, 0 and count to where I got to go to get there. So if I started at 0, 0 to get this lined up horizontally, I would have to go left 1. So that's -1. But then I'd have to go down 1, 2, 3. So my x value was -1. My y value was -3. Bam. Okay. Good. If I looked at this next point over here, if I were to count, I'd have to go over in the positive direction, 1, 2, 3, 4. But then I go down -1. So it would be +4 for my x, -1 for my y. All right. Last one, and then I'll give you all some time. If I chose this one, here it would be in the positive direction, 1, 2. And then I go up, so it's positive again, 1, 2. So that would be +2, 2. All right, I'm going to pause this and give you another minute to try these last 3. Ready, set, go. All right, so these last 3, y'all sounded like you got them pretty good, so we're going to kind of fly through them if we can. All right, so this first point up here, this is a point where you do not go left or right, so your x value would be 0. And then your y goes up in the positive direction, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it would be 0, 5. All right. This blue point up here to the left goes to the left, 1, 2, 3. So you know that's going to be a -3. But then it goes up in the positive direction, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And then the last one is this red dot. Here you go to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you know it's going to be -6. But then it goes nowhere. It doesn't go up or down. So no change is represented by 0. Okay? Now, when you are given something like this, it's a little bit easier sometimes if they actually give you the numbers. Then you can just look and line it up. Okay? And that'll happen sometimes as well. All right, so I have passed out to you, and this is for you at home as well so y'all can understand what's going on. I've passed out to you 2 sheets. One of those sheets is your homework, your practice sheet, all right? You don't have to turn it in. It is simply for you to practice and make sure you're good to go. I give you tables and ask you to plot the points, okay? And then on the back, I believe is on the back, y'all double check me. Is the back where there's points and you got to tell me what they are? No, the other sheet. Yeah, okay, so that's what it is. Now, on those where you have to plot them, I need y'all to hear me and know this. Some of those numbers are not perfect. All right, so you've got those. Here are the thing. They are not going to be perfect numbers. Okay, some of these worksheets are kind of hard to do for the generating stuff. Estimate it. So like, I know on one of those, it's like 6,493. Well, that should be somewhere about halfway between 6,000 and 7,000. Okay? Now, the second sheet, okay, where it's got a bunch of points on the front and then it's got a graph on the back. That is an extra credit opportunity. If you complete that and upload it to Canvas by Monday at midnight, I will give you 10 points towards an assignment this unit, whether it be a quiz, whether it be a test, whatever it might be. I will not accept it late. I will not help you on it. I'm probably not going to give you another reminder. It is up. You have all this class time in here, and then you'll have the rest of the weekend to get that stuff done. Okay? So that's what I've got for you. Y'all go ahead and get started. Ready, set, go.